to the Reach for the Stars learning series with me, Rinku. Today's topic is emotional resilience. Now, before we jump into the topic, how many of you have heard the story of King Bruce and the spider? Yes, the very same story that we heard in school. So King Bruce was the King of Scotland and he was fighting with the King of England. He had fought a battle with him 6 times, and every time he came back defeated, having lost a lot of his men, discouraged and frustrated. So King Bruce retired to the forest and he was very, very pensive and depressed. He had to take refuge in a cave, and this time he lost all hope. So on one rainy evening, as he sat in his cave, he had given up all hope of ever going back and fighting with the King of England again. So one rainy day, he saw a little spider climbing up the walls of the cave. Now, as he started watching this tiny little creature, the spider kept crawling up the wall, and unable to reach, it just kept falling down. Every time the spider fell down, it picked itself up and climbed up the wall again in an attempt to rebuild its web. So King Bruce looked at the tiny little creature and thought, "Oh no, this is such a tiny little creature, and look at that feeble thread of its. However is it going to climb this great height of a wall in this cave? And is it ever going to rebuild its web?" But he was amazed to find that the spider climbed the wall back again, and it did so. When it did so, it fell again. Now the spider fell 6 times, the same number of times that King Bruce had been defeated. And King Bruce looked at the spider and said, "Oh no, he will surely give up now, just as I am, hopeless and defeated." But the spider did not give up. It started climbing the wall of the cave again, and finally, climbed up and succeeded in going back to its web. So King Bruce was very inspired by the spider and said, if a tiny little creature like a spider can, never give up and keep trying and trying again till it finds its own web, its home, why can I, a king, not be courageous and not attempt to try again? And so he did try again, and for all you know, he did succeed and became the King of Scotland again. So my dear friends, the story of King Bruce and the spider is very, very old and something that we all learned in school and something that we all heard about. But as we grew up as adults, we forgot this story. We forgot about how to deal, with life setbacks, how to deal with adversities. So how many of you have faced tough situations in life? I'm sure there must be many of you out there. How many of you have faced financial difficulties, a death of a loved one, loss of a job, a heartbreak, a physical illness, any one of these setbacks? Okay, now think of 5 people that you know. It could be your family, your friends. Think of 5 people you know. Do you think that they had a tough life or they faced any of these setbacks? A financial difficulty, loss of a job, a physical illness, a heartbreak, any of these, death of a loved one? Yeah, in all probability, you will see that all 5 of them have gone through some setback or some tough situation in life. So yes, my friends, life is not fair, but adversities do not discriminate. And it is for us as human beings to bounce back after every difficulty and go back to being a victor and not a victim of the situation. So yes, today's topic is emotional resilience, and emotions are something that we feel day in and day out. So how many emotions do you think that a human being experiences? Take a minute and write down all the emotions that you can think of. Come on, take a paper and pen, or get your phones out, pull out the digital note and start writing down how many emotions do you know. Write down the names of the emotions. Okay, start writing now. Okay, that's it. Time's up. So how many emotions did you write down? Do you know how many emotions a human being experiences? So according to psychology, a human being experiences about 34,000 feelings and emotions throughout his lifetime. Yes, isn't that a huge lot? It is. However, there are 8 main emotions according to Robert Plutchik, who has researched, a famous psychologist who has researched on emotions, and he says there are 8 main emotions that a human being goes through or experiences, and the 8 are joy, sadness, acceptance, disgust, fear, anger, surprise, and anticipation. And Robert Plutchik founded something called the Wheel of Emotions. So what he really says is that each of these 8 emotions are experienced in various intensities, by human beings. So it could range. For example, let us take something like sadness. Okay, so what do you think are the different intensities of sadness? So you could be pensive, you could be really pensive, to begin with. You could then, become really sad, which is level 2. And then you could get into grief, which is the, the highest level of sadness. Similarly, if you are experiencing, let us say, anger, anger is an emotion. If you're experiencing anger, now anger is level 2 of the emotion. What do you think you experience first before anger? You're first annoyed, so you experience annoyance. Then you experience anger, and then if you let that anger, develop more, it becomes rage. Similarly, if you have to experience joy, the emotion of joy, the first level is to be serene, to feel serenity and to be calm. Then it develops into joy, and then joy, develops into the emotion called ecstasy. So what do you think it takes to build trust, in somebody? So the first emotion that you have to experience is to learn to accept. So learning to trust begins with acceptance, then moves on to becoming trust, and then maybe moves on to becoming admiration. So as human beings, we experience various emotions, and all of these things, are something that cannot be avoided, as a human being. Did you know that there are 8.6 million species, in the world? And about 6.5 million of these species are on land, and 2.2 million of these species are in water. Now, out of all these 8.5 million species, you as a human being are the only species that is capable of thinking, of becoming aware of what you feel, of having the ability to change, the way you are, the way you think, and the ability to think, feel, and to emote. Isn't that wonderful? So what are you doing with these wonderful gifts of being a human being? So do you think that you would be able to develop resilience? Of course, yes. You are blessed to be born as a human being. So what exactly? So we learned about emotions, and we saw that there are 8 main emotions: joy, sadness, acceptance, disgust, fear, anger, surprise, and anticipation, right? Okay, so what do you think is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back after every difficulty. It is the ability to deal with those stressors in your life and to become successful. Like I said, to be a victor and not to be a victim of your situations or to be a victim of your emotions. Okay, so are we ready to learn how to develop emotional resilience? Okay, so step one, okay, I'm sure that you all have your pens and paper ready or your digital notes ready. So are you ready to take this down? Okay, step one, become aware. Okay, become aware of what you are feeling, become aware of what you are thinking. So what are you feeling? So every time that you feel or that you are experiencing an emotional setback or a tough situation in life, take some time to check how you're feeling. What are you exactly thinking? What are your thoughts? Now, could it be that the thoughts that you are thinking are not true at all? Is it true? Or is it something that has become a belief? Something that, is it a situation that triggered those thoughts? And then, as you keep experiencing those thoughts, you start believing in those thoughts. Okay, and as you start believing in them, you develop these strong beliefs that you subconsciously, start, it becomes second nature to you. Yeah, you start acting according to your beliefs. So your thoughts become your emotions, and then when you attach an emotion to a certain thought, you start behaving in a certain manner and you start acting in a certain manner. Okay. So let me give you an example of this. While you were growing up as a child, if there was, while you were learning, if a snake had to get into your house, what would your mother do? So she would immediately pick you up, and start maybe, shouting and saying, snake, 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 look, it's a snake, it's poisonous, it's dangerous. Right? And she would immediately try to protect you from the snake. Right? Now that becomes something that is stored away in your subconscious. So you learn to associate snakes with danger. You learn to associate snakes with something that is to be feared, something that you have to protect yourself against. Yeah? And so even after you have grown up and you could very well, deal with the snake yourself, your first action will be to run away or to be in fear the moment you see the snake, right? So as you grow up, these emotions and these, subconscious beliefs that you have built in start showing up in the way you behave and in the way you start acting with others around you, right? So the first step to really dealing with an emotional setback is to really sit down and think, and to capture those thoughts, to become aware of what are you exactly thinking, what are you exactly feeling. Does it have a trigger, from somewhere, from childhood, from something way back in your life? Are you behaving in the same recurring pattern? Yeah. Now, where are you exactly feeling this emotion? Yeah. It is found that the body and the mind are really connected with each other. So you would see that, sometimes when you are really not feeling too positive, not feeling too good about yourself, you would start experiencing a headache. Maybe you catch a cold, maybe you just are too tired to deal with anything and you just want to go back and sleep. Do you feel butterflies in your stomach, when you're anxious? Do you feel nauseous? Where exactly do you feel that emotion in your body? Yeah. So the first step, like I said, to deal with emotional resilience is to become aware. And what can you do, to become aware? Start journaling your thoughts. Yeah. So the first thing that you would need to do is take a book and start writing down what exactly are your thoughts at that point of time. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Is there a pain somewhere? What are you experiencing? start journaling and writing it down. Yeah. Now, the second step to deal with emotional resilience is to take control of yourself. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we take control of ourselves? I know that you must be, in a really tough situation, and you will be feeling lost, depressed, tired, and thinking that, why is this happening to me? Why only me, right? You must definitely be in this situation where you just feel like hiding under a table, or, just going back to sleep, not getting up and dressing up, maybe, not eating, whatever behavior that you're experiencing. Stop it right now and take control of yourself. Okay? I know that you are experiencing grief, sadness, loneliness, whatever it is that you are going through. Remember that we live in a world of interdependence. We have to live with people around us, and we need to make it work with our family, with our friends, with our colleagues at work, and with society in general, right? So, however, I know when I said that you live in a world of interdependence, but it does not mean that you're going to let them take control of your life, okay? We are interdependent, but do not give the reins of your life into their hands. Take control of yourself. Take control of how you feel, okay? So while you are compassionate with, what others are saying, and while you try to reason out what they're saying and why they're saying, do not allow them to make you feel small or to make you feel inferior. Okay, every time you feel low, you feel inferior, you feel small, pull yourself up. Okay, and remember that you are a giant. A giant lies within you. Okay, remember all those wonderful achievements that you've had in life. Remember past successes. Remember happy moments. Yeah, there is, like I said, a Wonder Woman, a giant within you, waiting to be unraveled and waiting to be unleashed. And remember, Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel inferior other than yourself, and nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. So do not give the consent to anybody in the world to make you feel less, to make you feel small, to make you feel inferior. Okay? Now, let me give you some techniques here to help you take control of yourself. So number one, find a calm place, a place where you're not distracted, and breathe in and breathe out. Believe me, it really works. Work on your breath. Work on your breath. Breathe in and breathe out as many times as you can. Breathe into your nostrils and breathe out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, throw away all those tensions, all those worries that you're experiencing. Another thing that you could do to distract yourself is try spelling your name backwards. Yeah, actually it works. If you're really, are down and upset, try spelling your name backwards just for the fun of it. And you will see that you have, successfully distracted your mind. Look around and identify 5 things around you. What do you see around you? Do you see the sunlight out of your window? Do you hear a bird chirping? What do you see around you? So try and identify 5 things that you see around you. Okay, that you see, that you hear around you. Another thing which you could do to distract yourself or to take control of that grief or that emotion that you're experiencing, the negative emotion that you're experiencing at that moment, is to start doing some mundane activity like listing out 5 countries, 5 cities, whatever it takes. Doing a crossword puzzle, do a jigsaw puzzle, so Sudoku, whatever it takes, to distract yourself. Take a walk. If you are a nature lover, if you like being out, then take a walk. Okay, take a walk. Go out and just, be with yourself, be with your thoughts. Or you could also cuddle your child. If you have your child at home, go give him or her, a tight hug. If you have a pet, cuddle your pet. So these are some techniques where you could take control of yourself. So step 2 is to really, take control of yourself.